Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there. My name's Adam. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a repeat customer, please subscribe. Get those notifications on so you can see when I'm doing my most excellent work. Anyways, hope you enjoy this video. Check us out on Facebook as well. Today, or this week, couple week project, I'm guessing this will turn out being bouncing between other work in this. We are fixing some rust spots on a Jeep YJ, I do believe is what they consider this. That's what I ordered parts for, so I hope I didn't F that one up. You can see we've already got the fender flares off. I've got some rust spots cut out here already, and went ahead and made some patch panels. Here's a start. Pretty proud of that one actually. So I got the other piece over here. So this is what I cut out here. There's supposed to be a flange here, but that was pretty well effed. So we got it recreated here out of just some 18 gauge steel. Made it in two pieces. One, because there's a lot of complicated bends, and two, because I didn't have a big enough piece and didn't feel like going to the metal place, but mainly because instead of trying to get this bend just right, or excuse me up there, instead of trying to get this bend just right to line up with this bend and the length correct, I can make the front bend and the back bend stuff's all good, and then I can just tune the gap to where I want it. Just like I saw on the TVs. Thanks, Chip Foose. Alright, get back to fucking around. Here's where we're going to start trying to stick back together. I got this little patch made here. That goes up in there. Fitted pretty well too. Here's the inner panel. It'll get spot welded on there. I just added this little flange here. Just hammered it over on the vise and stuff. A little bit of painting and we got her taken care of, so we'll just hit them spot welds in there. And then there's a flange on the back side that actually the original body bolt will go through. Got the one panel fully tacked. We got that all spot welded where it was spot welded before. Well, this is a continuous seam, but I'm not going to get that fancy. Shouldn't have drilled that one. We'll call that a drain hole. So I'm a genius. When I set this up here, I just put a piece in here to make sure that the gap was right, and we'll get some primer. We'll grind that down. We'll put some primer on this because the only place that it'll have actual welds to the other sheet metal is over here, so we'll get that primered, so hopefully we can prevent rust for the next 10-15 years. This is Minnesota, so I got it. There she is, boys. As good as I'm gonna get it. You can obviously see the seam was right here. I could fill it in with weld and grind it down, but end up fucking warping it even worse. A couple holes I chased here. We're gonna do a little cave and pave there. We're gonna do a little hack job on that one. And this hole is a factory hole, so I tried to leave that in place. So I would call that a success. See the edge there? It runs into it. It got a little wider here. I can trim that down, but I think I'm gonna leave it. A little extra structure. Here's the next area I'm gonna start on. I should have showed you before. Just a little bit peeking through, but it becomes a whole lot. So my idea is, this part's fucked, but we got to keep this seam. So even though there's not a whole lot there, we're trying to keep this intact. And I'll make this piece with a flange, and then that'll give me something to start with to make the piece, this piece, that'll have a flange. So this will probably be like a two-piece thing, because I think it's going to get all the way over into the, oh no, that feels alright on it, but yeah, it's going to come all the way under here, so I'm going to have to make multiple curves, so I'll probably couple piece that, but this will go around here, and it's going to end actually all the way over here, because it doesn't get good metal until about here, so check it out. Here's the piece I've made so far. I got to trim the top of it, but the bottom I just did some of these relief cuts and let it bend around, and I'll just put some tacks on those and clean it up, make it look like one piece. Yeah, we got a corner piece in. Now once the old man gets that fender flare off, we'll get this. You can see I got this line frickin' minty. Alright, made up this little patch panel here. These spot welds will catch a cross member in the back, flange to sit behind. You know, made it a rolled edge there, hammered it around. Picked up this, used to have one of these, couldn't find it, so I picked up this flanger here from Harbor Freight. Shoots, makes you a nice flange and makes holes for spot weld. Real simple, so let's get kicking. Not too bad for a couple of hacks. Of course, we'll pave the shit out of that with some Bondo. We're not that professional, so I'd say that line looks pretty good though. That body line, that's pretty tasty. Here she is. First round of putty on there. I had her a little thin. She was fresh, running hot, so we were in a hurry. So we just got to get these filled in. I got them scratched out with 36 again. No, I'll go over this whole thing with 36. So it's got a good adhesion. Come to the front. Oh, look at those sick wheels. Then we got this. And here's a patch I did here, and it pretty much all the fillers coming off it. So must have done a pretty good job. This one needs a little more work. Needs a little more. There's too much filler on it at the moment still, but there's a low spot right here. No, that's a high spot, but up above it there's a little bit of a low spot, so we got to add more here, so I don't want to take too much off down here. There, so coming along nicely. We still got to fix that guy there. Alright, got some primer on it. Got a little ding here. Well, it's kind of more of a high spot in the metal. It's not filler. Try and take that out with the hammer. Some piano wire. Swoop down and take out my prey. Oh, look at this sick shop. Oh, look at that tratter. So obviously we got that to deal with. Probably not going to buff. Aftermath of the floor cutout. That's about all that was left. Here's I bought a factory style replacement panel. The black pieces came from the floor pan. Those are stuff we've trimmed off. I think there's pieces over there too. A little trim here and there. The silver pieces are from the rocker panel. Those were okay, but they ended up being too tall. So I ended up having to hammer out the 90-degree bend on the bottom right here and put it back in a sheet metal brake and move it up so that it would actually fit. So here we go. Got that panel all cut out and replaced. Did the same thing with the floor pan, except we didn't butt weld it or anything. It's just an overlap. We cut out all the bad shit. We left about an inch of good metal around the outside. Drilled a bunch of holes, plug welded, spot welded, whatever you want to call it, the whole way around. You can see right here, there's a floor brace, so we got that all cleaned up. All the under bracing was in really nice shape, considering how shitty the top bracing was. Then you had right here, there's another spot where it catches a floor brace, and then if you look here, right along this edge, there's another brace it catches, and then we just let it overlap. There, we're going to go ahead and just seam seal the whole thing, so both people will be none the wiser. We'll paint it red, try and make it blend in. So there's the side panel, some rivet holes, and we'll start. We got all these. These weren't really rusted, they just were bare metal. There was a little bit, they get hit under a fender flare, so we went ahead and put some of that chassis saver stuff on there. That stuff does not come off. So this back piece here, whatever, is a little more rough. We're gonna add a little filler on top of that from what I read from the manufacturer. All we have to do is scuff it with like a heavy 36 grit, so we've got that done. So hopefully the filler sticks to that to smooth that out a little bit, but other than that, next up we start slinging a little putty. Got it shaped as well as I'm going to get it. Ready for some filler primer in there. Filler primer. As you can see, my lovely assistant's doing a bit of scratching on the old truck there. We got her all taped and plastic off. We swept the shop a couple times, so as soon as we get her ready to go here, we'll tack cloth it real good, make make sure it's clean. We're not professionals, but we're close. Didn't want to be professionals. Anyway, so yeah, keep scratching and then we'll make some magic. Alright, we got our scuff tack clothed off, ready to spray. We're using an Omni paint. We took the door over and they put their fucking little gun on there and got us a paint coat. Hopefully it's close. Yeah, we're using a Harbor Freight gun to spray it. Spray and throw away kind of deal there. A little trick I picked up from the guy. So enjoy some fast forwarding. I had KFC for lunch and just burped in here. Ooh. Not too bad for Omni paint, single stage, shot with a Harbor Freight gun with no gauge to tell us what PSI we're shooting at, but it looked good on the test panels. It's got a little bit of a run, force run there. Other than that, it's turned out pretty slick. The color matched fairly well too. This is good here. This is unpainted hood, painted fender. I don't know how well the camera can pick up. They're pretty freaking close. Got the floor pan all seam sealed. All back together, back to stock form at the moment. Doors are a little dirty, hood's a little dirty. You can see we're touching up a hinge here. We didn't do that. We assumed we'd be able to take it off. Broke a Torex trying to take it off, so it's like we're painting it in place. Other than that though, got all the fender flares back reattached. New hardware. Again, we didn't paint the hood. We only painted the bottom half. Color match is pretty tits on there. Door's a little dirty from being outside. Had everything back on, but there she is, all painted up. It'll get a cut and buff once the paint fully cures. Probably wait a couple months before we worry about doing that. Seeing as we're not exactly professionals, who knows how well the paint got mixed. It feels hard, so that's a win. That's what she said. Inside here, we got the floor pan. Let's see what we'll do here. Floor pan in and painted. It's a little brighter than the other part, but looks pretty factory. Seeing it's got the same stampings and everything in it. Seam sealed around the edges. So, good. All right, that's gonna do it for the old MayorForce 1 mobile Jeep here. Paint's all done on it. It could use a cut and a buff. That'll happen eventually. Not by me, of course, but by someone. Gonna be a real mall crawler. We got new rims. They're a factory style rim. They're like the center lane look with like things like 5 holes around the outside. They came stock on these Jeeps too. I don't know if it was like an upgraded model. I hate these wheels. They're going. You got some 31 10.5 15s on the way, all-terrains to do a bit of parking lot crawling in it, go over like, ooh, sweet, gonna jump up over this curb. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like the video, feel free to comment, check us out on Facebook. See you on the next one.